Hello all! Welcome. And by all, I mean zero, because we've just started. So no one is here yet.
So welcome me.
Welcome you.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here.
Welcome to you as well.
However, many of you will watch this after it's live, so I'm talking to you people. We will be talking about a lot of topics we got going here, such as the fucking unmarked random military militias that are grabbing people off the streets of Portland, Oregon. That's an interesting one. That's a fun one.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about your chats, your discussions. If anybody does show up on the live stream as we are live now, let us know. Say hello. Let us know how the video is. Hi, Kat. Hi, Traveling Nomad.
Hey.
Please, everybody, let us know how the video is looking, because we're trying to fix the problems from the past few weeks. And so we need your feedback.
Yes, indeedy. So please let us know if the audio is okay. Video, okay. Kat says video good. That's good.
Hello, John.
I kind of wanted to, before we also, we look great. Great. Thank you. I'll tell my parents you said so.
They did my makeup today. Her parents.
That would be hilarious. Actually, I feel like my mom would do it, but it would be very artistic, and my dad would. That's just hilarious. So today we are, and I'll repeat this throughout the live stream, but today our donations are going to Food Not Bombs. So if you are on Facebook and you would like to donate, go over to youtube.com/momentofclarity. And that there, when you put when you go to make a comment, there's going to be a $sign and you can put in a donation, and all of that money will go to Food Not Bombs, which is a rad organization, that it's a mutual aid organization, in a lot of ways. And it is, an organization that feeds people, because that's something that we need in this, in the richest country in the world where people are starving.
Food Not Bombs is a great organization. I've met some of the higher ups at Food Not Bombs. Not that it's
higher ups.
I know it's kind of
hierarchical.
It's pretty non-hierarchical, but one of the creators, one of the people that founded it. You're listening it's in Brazil. I thought it said in Braz, and I was like, oh, Braz sounds like a cool place. Yes, great organization. And wow, already Chris gave $10. Thank you, Chris. Last week, you guys gave, it amounted to almost exactly $500, $4.99 or something. So we gave $500 to the Black Hills Legal Defense Fund, which is incredible. It's an incredible amount of money. These live streams we've been doing have always impressed me more than I ever thought they would. I thought we'd be donating $50 to some of these causes, but instead, $500.
Y'all are awesome.
Yeah.
So really quick, and please, if you have questions or something you want to talk about, please let us know. But I wanted to also talk about, real quick, and I'll mention this again as well. So tomorrow is Saturday, July 18th. The following Saturday, July 25th.
Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you, Lucy. Awesome. The following Saturday, the 25th, there are actions happening across the country to basically call to cancel rents and stop evictions and stop police terror, basically connecting all of these issues. So you all can check out. You can go to canceltherents.org. And you can find information about this. You can even organize your own action, but basically drawing the connection between racial justice and housing as a human right, and of course income inequality, which is also of course a public health issue. So drawing all of these connections and having these socially distanced car caravans, and then rallies across the country as well.
So this relates to the first topic I wanted to get into, which is the looming evictions. I'm going to cover it on the next Redacted tonight, but 28 million evictions are estimated to be basically on the cusp. They're waiting to do them. They're waiting for the eviction freeze to end, and they are prepared to kick people out of their homes. In America, this is just America, although I know it's happening all over the world. Not as bad, maybe. Thank you, Total Popedom.
Thank you.
$20. That's great. And so this massive evictions, and I mean, not only is it just fucking insane to kick everybody out of their homes during a goddamn pandemic, but beyond that little note, that one of the lighter notes. Beyond that little note, there's no reason they need to. There's no reason that this country couldn't sustain everybody during the time of a goddamn pandemic. It doesn't, and that is the correct term, goddamn pandemic. And there's no reason that, I mean, the amount of money, $4.25 trillion given to big banks and Wall Street in this thing, you could keep everybody in their homes and apartments and everything else. Not to mention, it saves money for society. Utah ended homelessness. I think the new governor has fucked it all up. But I think, 5-6 years ago, they ended homelessness by giving every homeless person their own apartment and a caseworker. And they found out it saved the state money. The state kept more money in their banks, in the bank account, by giving people their own apartment, because homeless people use services such as emergency rooms and things like that, and they can't pay for it, obviously, so the state pays for it. So the state actually lost money by keeping people homeless. So why? It just infuriates me. So anyway, that's why I want to talk about these actions that are coming up to stop evictions. We all need to stand together and stop the fucking evictions.
Mm-hmm. And Dorothea makes a good point here. The medical bankruptcy that there's going to be, that there always has been in our country. People are facing $1 million hospital bills because of coronavirus. And let's be clear, people were going bankrupt because of medical bills long before the pandemic. So this is just adding to that. And so shit is obviously very bleak, but it's also a very powerful time for organizers and for people like y'all who are clearly interested in amplifying these messages. It's a really powerful time for that, because it's a powerful time to bring people together to recognize our shared solidarity, like what Patoka called the solidarity of the shaken. We're all recognizing that there's nobody that has our back, and the only people that are going to protect us, that are going to watch out for us, are each other. And so this pandemic has really thrown that into a stark contrast. So it's important that we amplify these actions. So again, that's canceltherents.org, where you can find out more about the Stop Evictions actions that are happening across the country on Saturday, July 25th. There's also a cool, I'm not sure exactly how often it gets updated, but there's an anti-eviction map. So if you check out antievictionmap.com/COVID, then you can find this anti-eviction map that has not only actions that are happening, but also it shows like what areas of the country, if any, have passed any sort of legislation regarding evictions and regarding stays on rent and things like that.
That's a great point. And to Lucy's point about what's going on in England or Britain, I want people to, if you'd like, leave comments about what's going on in your area. If you know that there is either something being done to stop evictions or nothing being done. Lucy says in Britain, at least her area of Britain, they either furloughed or gave a cheap-ass amount of money whilst the lockdown was on. And now that we are slowly coming out of lockdown, there will be even more homelessness here in the UK and in the US.
Yeah.
So it doesn't sound much better in the UK than here.
Well, no, the UK tends to do what the US does, which is it's a fascinating turn. And actually, while we see, Iran and China are joining forces, not because they like each other that much, but because there's this need to stand up to the US empire. And I really fucking wish that Europe would do that. I'm so pissed, particularly at Sweden, because Sweden keeps doing this bullshit like, oh, I want to be like the US. I want to be like the US. Right. That really pisses me off, because if Europe as an entity, even though I don't agree with the EU, but if Europe as an entity came together and was like, you know what, US, you're fucking out of control. Fuck you. We're going to stand up against you economically and politically. The US wouldn't have a way to get around that. So there are ways that the world could stand up to the U.S. without using force and basically like create an ultimatum there for us not being assholes.
Right, EU, stop being goddamn ballless wonders and not standing up to the U.S. or pussyless wonders, because pussy's more powerful than balls, I feel.
I agree. Actually, Betty White said, "Why does everyone say that man has balls? Because they're actually very sensitive. You should say that man has a vagina because those can take a pounding."
Take a pounding.
That's what she said. I love that. Isn't that great?
Try kicking at her age. Try kicking someone in the pussy. You're going to get a much less effect.
It's going to be her and Keith Richards at the end.
Oh my God, what an adorable couple. But for those of you on Facebook, by the way, please come on over to Moment of Clarity, youtube.com/Moment of Clarity, so that you can be part of the Super Chat donations. Anybody who leaves a donation by clicking the $sign, those are all getting donated to Food Not Bombs this week to help feed people.
And I just highlighted this comment for shameless self-promotion reasons. Thank you so much.
I'll type the website.
My film is up at hardroadofhope.com for anyone interested in seeing some radical history and some powerful organizing for the future. Please do check that out. Thank you so much, Gamandi, for watching that.
Hope is the name of her cat, and it's an interesting film about the cat's journey home.
Do you remember that film about the cats
you should probably tell them that was
in Istanbul? If they can't figure that out, they're not your fans. Remember that there's this brilliant movie about cats in Istanbul, and it's the most adorable fucking film I've ever seen in my life.
I don't know about brilliant. It's just a movie about cats, but it's fun.
How do you film them? That is brilliant. Are you kidding? Have you ever tried to follow a cat? It's it's amazing. However they filmed that,
even tougher. Try to follow a cat's train of thought. That'll leave you in the dust. What were we talking about? Evictions?
We were talking about evictions and ongoing actions to stop them.
By the way, for those of you who are new to our live streams here, feel free to throw out thoughts, topics, questions. We try to get as many as we can. And someone else loved the Cat Istanbul movie. Yes, it was a great movie. Oh, it was called Ketty.
Ketty, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andres.
But so, yeah, anybody throw out things you want to talk about, even if it's not the issue we're on, and we will try to get to as many as possible. Please take a moment also to share this on your various social media platforms where you tell people what you're doing during your day. And last week, the donations we gave, we ended up giving $500 to Black Hills Legal Fund, which those were the protesters that stood up and blocked the roads for the Trump appearance in front of Mount Rushmore. And Mount Rushmore is a disgusting fucking monument we've put up in one of the most sacred places for the Lakota Native Americans. So yeah, that went to them, which is really cool.
So yeah, this week we're doing Food Not Bombs, which is a rad organization. And yeah, so if you can, please donate. Obviously, it's not mandatory. You can hang out with us and chat with us regardless. If you can, please do donate for Food Not Bombs. Someone's what?
Someone's asking about the disappearance in Portland, so we can go ahead and get to that, I guess.
Yeah. So that's something that.
I'll give the. Can I give the summary?
Yes.
Okay. In Portland, Oregon,
I'm excited about this.
There are protests. There are Black Lives Matter protests going on, which is a lot of cities in the U.S. right now, and they. Oh, sorry, we got a donation. $11. Thank you, Osama. It takes a minute to come up there, but
thank you, Carl.
So anyway, these fucking federal troops dressed in camo gear and basically war gear. I mean, guns, camo, all of it. Like, you wouldn't know any difference between that and a U.S. soldier overseas. But no markings, no name tag, no name number, none of that shit. Driving up in unmarked black vans, grabbing peaceful protesters, throwing them in the van, which they have it's funny, the English language, they have terms for certain things. That is called kidnapping, okay? They fucking kidnap these people, take them to a federal facility, which is how we know they're federal agents. Thank you, Sam, which is how we know they're federal agents. So they take them to a federal holding facility, put them in there. And then one that the Washington Post spoke to, one of these that was in there, said they kept asking me questions. I said, I'd like to remain silent. They told me to give up that right. I refused. And then they ultimately let me go. Meaning they had nothing on the person. They found a person at a peaceful protest, fucking kidnapped them, and took them to a federal facility.
This is why we have the Know Your Rights trainings, and why as uncomfortable. I'm going to do a mini Know Your Rights training right now. As uncomfortable as it is, just keep saying, I prefer to remain silent until I can speak to counsel. I would like to speak to counsel. I would like to speak to and it's going to feel super awkward.
Counsel means lawyer.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Cops are not only allowed to lie, they're like encouraged to do so in order to get you to talk. So they'll start by detaining you and saying shit like, good cop, bad cop. And then somebody will come up and be like, hey, so, I get what you're doing here. I understand. But, we're just trying to like go after the people that are like fucking with people or like hurting people. Like, have you seen anything? Or they're going to try and be nice to you in order to get you to say some shit that either gets you in trouble or your friends in trouble or even people that you don't know.
Right,
so for your sake and for the sake of your community, don't fucking say anything. Just keep saying, I prefer to remain silent. And also, if you're being detained, you can ask, am I being detained?
Thank you, Jay Blood.
Am I under arrest? And if you're not, then you're free to go. And it's always a good idea to say, am I free to go? And they might be like, well, yeah. Then just walk away slowly. Like you're walking away from a bear. You don't want to run, but just like walk away slowly. But that's also a good thing to ask is like, am I being detained?
Thanks, Linda. Arrest? Thanks, Chuck.
So I'm not saying that it'll always work. And obviously in this case, people were still brought to a federal fucking facility. But these are like Gestapo tactics. They're meant to scare people in order to ensure that people don't take to the streets and exercise their right to assemble and to free speech. So this is really fucking grotesque what's going on in Portland, even though it's not necessarily that surprising.
Yeah, so Jay Blood, who I believe is Jason, he's saying that Portland is just the beginning and it's kind of a stunt. And I think it's a stunt in the sense that it's kind of a test balloon by the Trump administration to see what they can get away with, to see whether they can send basically federal, unmarked militia agents into areas to kidnap people and no one will make a big deal out of it. And whether legally it'll stand up in the courts, which it should not. It's completely unconstitutional to arrest or grab people without charges, without some sort of suspicion of committing a crime. So I think they're testing that out. They're seeing how it goes right now, which is horrific. That's not how the fucking world should work. And then John Gold, thank you for your comment, has said, could you mention that the federal police that exist within the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, that made the arrest in Portland. So a lot of people are surmising that this is DHS or possibly a connection to Eric Prince and the founder of Blackwater. But under DHS should never have existed. We were lied to about 9/11. That 9/11 was used to pass the Patriot Act and it allowed for DHS, the creation of DHS, and it allowed for all this incredibly unconstitutional, illegal behavior by our government, including the massive illegal surveillance we're under in this country and in many countries.
Yeah, and Chuck, thank you for the donation, and also makes the point of a general strike. And I believe on Monday there is going to be there's a lot of people walking off their jobs for a strike in defense of Black lives. So that's another thing that you can check out. So with regards to Lene's comment here, I heard that if they take you, they'll let you go.
$20, thank you, Manu.
This is one of those things like when people ask like, do you know if I'm going to get arrested? It's like, I don't know. So sometimes they'll let you go if you ask for an attorney because they realize that they don't have anything. Sometimes they'll just let you rot in a cell for a while because they're like, oh, well, we're working on it.
And they're hoping eventually.
That's happened to me before. Well, they're like, oh, you want an attorney? Fine. Then just sit down and fucking shut up for, several hours. And they're going to hope that you're going to crack and be like, okay, fine. I'm sorry. I was just kidding. I'll tell you what you want to know. So it really depends. And this is where like that law gets really murky, because they can always say, oh, well, we suspected that they were guilty of a crime, or they can get you, like, if you have like unpaid parking tickets or something, then they can get you on that shit and hold you for that, for like a misdemeanor that's totally unrelated for what what they're detaining you on. So they have a lot of tricks up their sleeve. So really the best thing to do is just keep saying that you want to speak to an attorney and that you're not going to speak to them, but don't expect them to just like immediately release you. And this is why it's also very important for you to have access to a jail support number. This is why it's also important that when you go out, you have a buddy system and people know where you are, and people are aware of what parts of the city, for instance, have been kettled, what parts of the city are experiencing these mass arrests. So it's really important for folks to know those things, so you're not just like sneaking off into the night and no one knows where the hell you are.
Right. Lene is clarifying that she was specifically talking about the Portland incidents. Which They might have. You might be correct.
Sorry.
That if someone asked for a lawyer, they let them go. But
right.
Still, even so, they can't be allowed to fucking kidnap people with unmarked vans. No. It's fucking insane. It's like, what's next? They're going to put on creepy mustaches? Mine is not creepy. Mine is legit. Thank you, Frank, for the donation.
Thank you so much, Frank. He's asking if you have proof of Prince's private mercenaries. I don't think that's been confirmed.
I don't think it's been confirmed either. The Washington Post, which was the article I read on this, and you can always take Washington Post with a grain of salt, but they mentioned Eric Prince, that people believe this may be a connection to him, but I don't know if there's evidence of it. It seems like him.
It seems like something
he would enjoy doing. Yeah, exactly. Multiple people are now saying it's Department of Homeland Security, which is quite probable.
Right. So I saw, Carl, I know that you said that we hadn't answered your question. I did see it earlier. It was, have you ever gotten shit for being a movie or music snob? I can say absolutely.
Was that the question?
Yeah. I can say absolutely. Not so much a movie snob. However,
you are not a movie snob.
No. And I have friends that are like totally into movies that are like, have you seen it? And I'm like, nope.
Hardly even seen Kubrick.
Excuse me. My family sat me down and made me watch 2001: Space Odyssey way before I understood anything. Actually, I don't even think I understand anything now. But
it turns out 2001: Space Odyssey actually better in the womb. So it's truly incredible in the womb.
I know that but
what just went down? Oh my God. Something just happened.
It's been a long fucking week, okay? There was a whole conversation that happened in my head, and that like
what's up? Wait, nope. Okay, moving on.
Well, because you know that they've said that like your dreams, like these epic long dreams that you have, only last like 10 seconds. That's what just happened in my head. There was like a full on story. I'm pretty sure there was a full on story.
If you start doing this, then I'm gonna start to worry. You start running through fields.
There was a lot that was going on in my head just then. But so I have been a music snob. I'm not as much anymore, but
hold on. She would never tell you this. She was the lead singer and the force and the lyrics behind a great band called Rooftop Revolutionaries. Everyone should check it out. I swear to God, if you haven't even given it a chance, then you're out of your goddamn mind. Give it a fucking listen. Rooftop Revolutionaries. They have several albums and music videos on YouTube you can check out. Great work. And anyway, so she's entitled to be a music snob.
Oh, so is that how it works? You can be a comedy snob then?
Of course. Why do you think there's Bill Hicks, Dick Gregory, and George Carlin behind us?
Okay. All right. Fine.
Well, I'll give everybody the George Carlin view. There we go.
Yeah, so I'm definitely I'm still a bit of a music snob.
Someone just said sick, tired, and wasted. They know. They get it.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Yes, proud of the work that we've done. So yes, I hope that answers your question, Carl. But yeah, where were we before we established that I'm having dreams in the middle of the live stream and I was in a band? What were we talking about before that was established?
Oh, well, we weren't. We were asked whether we were music and movie snobs. I'm a bit of a movie snob.
Really?
I wouldn't call myself a movie connoisseur. So if you said like some great movie from the 1930s, I don't think I've seen it. But most movies that come out these days feel like garbage. And there are some exceptions. There's some good stuff out there. So I'm a little bit of a movie snob. I don't know. I like movies that really make you think, and there aren't a lot that do that anymore. And even the ones that kind of do that, they also were working with the CIA, so it's like a little light propaganda sprinkled in, and I can't even focus because I'm like, fuck you to hell. So it's tough. Yeah, Rachel saying Idiocracy. Idiocracy was a great movie.
See, I didn't actually like the.
Well,
movie.
I
loved the premise, and I love the intro with like the.
I think we talked about this on the podcast a while back on Common Uncensored. Idiocracy. When I first watched it, because everyone was talking about it, I go to watch it, and I was like, "This is like a cheesy comedy. I'm not impressed." And then I realized through my life, the next 10 years, that I was quoting it more than most other movies, and I was referencing it because it's not a well-made film because they were trying to do something that their budget didn't allow, but Idiocracy has called everything. I mean, fucking Trump is whatever, Camacho. Like, it's all real. It's feeding the crops with goddamn Gatorade. It's all real, okay? And so the satire of Idiocracy is on point.
Someone's asking which Star Trek is your favorite because I know you have a response to that.
I love how that's my analysis of whether I'm a. Well, I guess we're talking about movies. I assume he means TV, although there's obviously Star Trek movies. Star Trek Next Generation is my favorite.
And I don't even know what that means. And this is not. I don't.
And I don't know the words that just came out of your face.
I don't. Then this is not because I'm like anti-nerd, because I love Lord of the Rings.
She has seen Star Wars though.
And I love Star Wars. Oh my gosh, Star Wars! Like my brother and I were like Star Wars fans when we were kids. Actually, kind of still are. But I'm totally down for Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. I just never got into Star Trek. I think it's probably because I wasn't allowed to watch TV as a kid. So, yeah. That's all I got. That was the end of my sentence.
Oh, that's funny. Andres just said, Andres just said Idiocracy became a documentary.
It did. 1984 and Idiocracy are like, it's kind of like a Venn diagram of where we're living right now. A little bit of 1984, a little bit of Idiocracy. I'm
enjoying this conversation. I have also noticed that no one is donating. I don't know if Food Not Bombs is a cause people are not into. Or maybe when we're just talking about Star Trek, it seems less important. But either way, I just wanted to go back and mention that if you click the little $sign and hit a little donation, we'll donate it all to Food Not Bombs, and it'll help people get fed. It'll help people get fed instead of killed, which I am for. I am all for that.
Yeah,
and for those of you. Just last thing. And for those of you on Facebook, please come over to youtube.com/momentofclarity and you can join the super chat by hitting the $sign.
Yeah, so Food Not Bombs is a great organization. And
thank you, Carl.
Thank you, Carl. And they do a lot. It's not just food. Like they do a lot of work. Like it's basically a mutual aid organization. So a lot of folks that are part of Food Not Bombs are also, working with the unhoused communities, working with migrant communities and undocumented communities. Working with basically the people.
Thank you, Christine.
Is working with and ensuring that people have the resources they need to be safe. So, thank you, Christine. I have seen Fisher King.
I have not.
Well, I have to go.
Wow, $20. Thank you, Felicia.
Bear character sliding on the floor on his knees saying "goal." You know what that reminds me of? Speaking of comedy, that reminds me.
I'll never stop laughing at you reading out emojis or no GIFs, I guess.
That reminds me of the Robin Williams joke. I don't know if that's okay to bring up Robin Williams, but where he was saying that he wanted to have the guy who does the commentary for Mexican soccer do golf just once. And the bit is, I'm not going to try to do it because I'll butcher it, but it's fucking hilarious. I'm going to get more wine. Abject Permanence. I like that name.
Thank you for the donation.
Character turning around, waving his hand, saying, "Hey, you," while lowering his glasses.
And Osama number 5. Thank you for the donation as well.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. Again, if you're just joining us, all of these donations are going to Food Not Bombs.
You can grab more wine, but do you have a topic you'd like to throw out there that we can get started on?
I mean, we can also, one of the things that we're working on here in DC, in our mutual aid organization, is that we're working on the issue of public housing, and really like how public housing is really just like another example of the idea of like starving something and then saying that it doesn't work. Kind of like the post office, right? So here,
public schools.
Yeah. So here, what we're dealing with is a community of like totally badass people that are owed like tens of thousands of dollars from the DC Housing Authority, whose budget was almost like $400 million. And they're arguing over like a measly like 30 grand. And basically what they're doing is they're trying to withhold the money to keep this place sanitary. And it's a community of predominantly seniors, and they're dealing with incredibly unsanitary conditions. And actually one of the people who lives there used to be in prison, and he was like in solitary confinement for like 13 years. And he said that, I oftentimes say that living in public housing is a lot like prison. Because these buildings, which have,
thank you, Jennifer,
which many of them have markings known as like deplorable, which means that they're basically like not safe to live in.
Can you please read this emoji?
A white unicorn with rainbow hair. That's how I would act that out.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jennifer. So basically, I've walked through this space, and it's got mold. It's got roaches that are, the size of your dog.
Thank you, Shahela.
It's got like rat infestation. The DC Housing Authority has an obligation to come and clean it, and to ensure that the seniors have the supplies that they need, including food, and they have not done this. So if it were up to them, these seniors would be starving to death in unsanitary conditions. Luckily, a lot of the residents there have organized themselves because they have like a history of this community organizing, and we're working with them as well. But this is what, and basically what they're trying to do is force this building to close, to be condemned, shove those people out to, according to DC Housing Authority, who gives a shit where, so that they can flip it and basically demolish it and turn it into like a brand new high rise, which if you look at, particularly the public housing in this area of DC, which, by the way, DC is the fastest gentrifying city in the United States. And if you look around this community in DC, all of the places around it are brand new.
Thank you, Norma.
And so it's really, instead of like putting the money in to ensure that these places have what they need in order to survive at the very least and thrive, they spend even more money ensuring that they can flip these properties. So it is a technique to basically defund and destroy these properties so that people move out and they stop being public housing and they become very profitable for the people that own them or take them over. I hope that wasn't about me talking. She was like, to get through this, I need some more alcohol. But yeah, it's an old technique, and Kushner apparently has been a slumlord for years before he married Ivanka. Even because he's the heir
of another real estate titan, and they clear properties out of rent stabilized areas by having fake construction and all kinds of shit, basically getting people to the point that they're like, I can't fucking live here, and then they flip it. They change they build some new things. They add a little pathway and some flowers, and they go, hey, this will be $9 billion to live here, and all the rich people come running in. Thank you, AJ.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, someone to get back to something kind of random. Someone was asking about the volume on Redacted Tonight, which aired tonight. They said they watched it at RT.com. I don't know why the volume was screwed up if it was, but I will try and look into it.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to coordinate people for a mutual aid thing tomorrow, so that's why I'm over here. Sorry.
She's got multiple threads going, folks.
This is why I was dreaming.
You know what?
This is why I was dreaming while talking.
I just want the people to know that you are not that important to her. She's got other people she cares more about.
That is not true.
Someone was asking about the Russian hack of the vaccine research. Another hilarious story. Which was actually news
to me because I wasn't aware that we were actually doing any vaccine research.
Right, exactly.
Or if we were, that you'd want it.
But yeah, that you want what we're working on. But this story, I wasn't going to bring it up just because it's getting so tiresome to watch. Like every time the mainstream media is like, Russia hacked again. And you're like, am I supposed to believe this again? Are we doing this again? And it really is just all the same shit again. They have like no evidence, no proof of this. But this one is unique because why is vaccine research fucking hidden from other countries? Pandemic don't care about your imaginary borders, okay?
Yeah, do you remember?
Pandemic doesn't give a fuck. Pandemic gonna go everywhere. So you need to stop
that. Felt idiocracy.
So you need everyone should be working together, working fucking together. So the idea that our secret vaccine research, which we're going to weaponize, is being hacked into is hilarious.
Just real quick, thank you so much, Anna, for making a housemate pool. That's fucking awesome. So seriously appreciate that. And AZ, why are we not sharing the info? Yeah, exactly. Which is kind of my point. Like, do you remember polio? Basically, what happened was that Salk was like,
wait, is that the game with the horses and the mallets?
Mallets. So basically, Salk basically said that he did. I said basically a lot, didn't I? Salk didn't want to copyright it because he wanted this to be available to everyone and anyone. You would have a lot more people that were disabled. Thank you, patent. You would have a lot more people disabled and dead if it weren't for the fact that Salk was like, no, this would fucking help people. Absolutely. Like, get it out there. Right. And so the idea that this is proprietary means that you legit think that it is more important that you buy a new yacht than that people survive. And you know, like really the reports coming in about what coronavirus is capable of doing. I recently saw a report in Newsweek that says that a lot of people that have suffered from COVID also have brain damage. You know, a lot of the people that were, for instance, at like a COVID party, I don't know how you tell that they have brain damage, but you know, for other people, you know, let's say like someone.
Hold on, I think some people might not know what you are talking about when you say COVID party.
People are going or sending their kids to COVID parties.
Thank you, Juliet.
So that they can get infected. Thinking that it's like chicken pox, I guess.
Thank you, Carl.
Where you just have it. It's not like lethal or anything. You itch for a few days and then you're done for the rest of your life. But that's not how COVID works. There's been other studies.
You itch. It's very itchy. But beyond that, you're fine.
Well, that is what chicken, I mean... Am I wrong?
No, I was joking about COVID.
Oh,
like,
right. I was like, wait,
COVID's a little itchy, and then you'll be fine.
Right, and there have been, you know, many newer.
Thank you, Ross.
And this is the thing, like, because we're living through it, we don't have like the ability to just look back and be like, oh, that's right. it doesn't affect you twice. But the more that we learn about it, the more that we're finding that COVID can actually hit you multiple times. So the idea that you go to a party in order to get COVID is fucking stupid. So those people, maybe you would notice that they have brain damage, but other people, there's noticeable traces of brain damage. So coronavirus is really fucking intense, in case anybody had missed that. And so it's really fucking abhorrent that big pharma is basically saying, yes, we want to make sure that we can make money off of this and keep people from accessing this and let them die or let them have irreversible brain damage or blood clots or, what have you.
Yeah, I think that, and here's the thing is I don't even think I really knew this, but there hasn't been a lot of explanation to people about how these type of things work, how viruses impact the body in general. People do die from the flu, not on the levels of COVID, but people do die from the flu, and yet we act like it's fine. We shouldn't act like it's fine. We should talk a lot about it. We should try and figure it out. But basically the reason they don't is because they don't want people to stop going out and stop shopping in the winter when the flu is more active and that kind of thing. So there really should be more discussion of this in our society. But instead, a lot of it is kind of kept quiet because it's like, no, all is fine. Go about your business. Ignore it all. And not only should it not be like that, like with the flu, obviously this is much worse. More long-term damage, far more people dying. We've already had over 120,000 people die in America, which is double the terrible flu seasons. And we've only been through 3 months of this. So anyway, I don't know. That's what I got.
I agree. So you actually have, hey, this is a good moment to bring up. Hold on.
Thank you, my salesperson. And thank you, American of Color.
Because who
donated.
Thank you, American of Color. If you're asking who we're donating to Food Not Bombs. But thank you for trusting us enough to donate without asking or without knowing first.
Donate to the Nazi Party.
So, Lee, you actually have, if I may play the role of the interview.
Yes, please.
Lee, I believe you have.
And I have an update, so go ahead.
I believe you have an essay in here about the greed of pharmaceuticals and their coalition with infectious diseases.
Yes, they work together with infectious diseases. Thank you, my agent. Yes, the book is called Bullet Points and Punchlines. Everyone should get a copy. If you just want to get the digital copy, you could even get it down to, $7 with the coupon code, the initials of the title, BPAPL. That's a coupon code, and you'll get 10% off. And from the digital version, it's like $7. Why would you not? What? Anyway, there's a column in there 2 years ago, a leaked memo from, I believe it was Goldman Sachs. Yeah, it was Goldman Sachs. Telling their biggest investors, their investors who actually read their memos. These are big time investors. These are rich people. Telling them, don't invest in curing diseases because then you don't have an incoming profit stream. Invest in treating diseases so that, yes, you can kind of help people, but they keep having the disease, so that's good for you. Both because you have an endless profit stream and because they can then give it to other people. It basically says that. It literally says that the problem with curing the disease is that person then doesn't give it to anyone else. Unfettered capitalism works together with infectious diseases to make a profit. How fucked up is that? Anyway, I have kind of a new update that for those of you who watched Redacted Tonight, for those of you who saw it, I talk about the one of the treatments for COVID-19 is called remdesivir. They've been talking about it a lot. It helps decrease the likelihood of death and the amount of time you stay in the hospital. So it's supposed to help a little. Some studies show it doesn't help at all. Some studies show it do. It do. It do help. I'll tell you what. this shit right here, you take some of this, it's going to help you do. No, but
as someone from North Carolina, I am offended.
That was not North Carolina. That was far deeper south than North Carolina. And so some studies say, let's say it does. Let's just benefit of the doubt, say remdesivir helps. It is owned by Gilead, a massive big pharma company. They are charging $3,000 for a treatment of remdesivir, and there's shortages because everyone's running around trying to get it. $3,000 for many people. That is, that's a I'm going to be paying this off for years kind of sentence.
Well, because that's just for one
treatment. They give some argument as to why it should cost $3,000. It's ridiculous.
It's bullshit.
But here's one of the secrets of it, is that it was created by us. It wasn't created by Gilead. It was created by you and me. $70 million of taxpayer money went into a grant to fund the research. Other research was done by federal scientists. It was created by you and me. It should be given to you or me if we need it. For free or for $10 or something. It's laughable that Gilead is getting rich off of profiteering on a pandemic. But beyond that, there's a 3-drug cocktail, which I'm not going to say the names because I can't pronounce them. But there's a 3-drug cocktail. This is according to The Intercept and the LA Times, and I wrote a column about it, and I did a redact tonight about it. 3-drug cocktail that works better than remdesivir. But you haven't heard of it. No one really has, because they are generic drugs, so Big Pharma can't get rich off them. They can't make a profit. Therefore, they don't mention them. There's no marketing campaign. There's not millions of dollars of marketing telling you, go ask for these drugs. There's not millions of dollars of marketing telling the doctors these drugs exist. So they're not being given to people, and they could be nearly free.
Yeah, and J Blood makes a good point. Their argument for $3,000 a dose is that they could charge $12,000 a dose, so they're giving us a big break. No, this is a common ploy that you see, all over the place. You see it in housing as well. Like, well, we could charge, like $5,000 a month, but because we're being generous, we're only going to charge $3,000 a month for a studio apartment in the middle of bumfuck. It's like, great.
Well, and you're gonna love this. I mentioned on Redacted tonight that their argument is we could charge $12,000 because we can charge the amount of the savings from using the drug, the amount of the amount of what you get from using the drug. And so their argument was, well, the person leaves the hospital sooner, so it costs less, so it costs $12,000 less. We could charge that. Do you understand how insane that is? That would be like saying someone who takes Viagra owes you 300 orgasms, or owes you the child they produce on the Viagra.
I don't want it.
I know, seriously. But or how about someone, a doctor gives you a heart transplant, you owe them your life, so you're now their butler? It's fucking nonsense. It is a nonsense logic.
Yeah, well, it's not logic. That's the whole point. It's basically an argument that they've concocted in order to appeal to our capitalist programming and make us think, yeah, well, no, they are giving us a break. Like, that makes sense. They have to feed their kids, and they have a bottom line. They've got employees to pay and stuff like that. Like, I've legitimately heard people say this. You want to make sure that the pharmaceutical reps have a job, right? You wouldn't want them to be jobless, you horrible human being. As if somebody couldn't have a job other than peddling drugs that people don't need to, doctors to force them upon people. So yeah, it's a racket.
It absolutely is. I feel like this conversation is just getting open, just getting going. I'm really glad you guys are all chatting. Please interact with each other. Please throw us questions or comments or topics you want us to address.
And if you can, throw some money on your comment. If you're
Food Not Bombs.
If you're watching this on youtube.com/moment of clarity, you can put an amount in with the comment, and all of that money is going to Food Not Bombs. And
if you guys donate $50 over the next 10 minutes, then Thank you, Maria. Then we will, and Maria's does not count because I hadn't finished the sentence. If you donate $50 over the next 10 minutes, we'll stay an extra 10 minutes. I like to do that each week because we get to give more money to these great causes.
Thank you, Stacey. They're bugs.
I didn't read the comment. I was like, what the fuck?
They're little beetles. See?
Yeah, little beetles. Not real ones. They haven't taken a beetle, coated it in silver. It's silver, coated in silver.
I might be dreaming and trying to organize mutual aid, but I can say silver.
I wish I could say I've just had 5 glasses of wine and that's what you're going to get. But I've had like,
it's just been a day.
I've had like 1 glass. It's not, I can't blame it on it.
Yes, Lucy, they're scarabs. No, but this is what happens. This is brain fatigue. This is what happens when you've had like 14 phone calls in a day and you've been coordinating humans, and it's a lot, but it's incredibly awesome as well. So definitely don't mean to say that like, oh, woe is me, but you will get me periodically dreaming and Lee not being able to say silver. These are the side effects.
Greg would like you to smoke some weed. Hey, by the way, since we're staying for a few more...
I wish, but it makes me paranoid.
Since we're staying for a few more minutes, I hope, if people donate, please let everyone know to join us. Just send out a little tweet or a text or a Facebook. Is that still a thing? People still on Facebook? To come on by. If you're actually watching on Facebook, come over to youtube.com/momentofclarity because that's where you can be part of the super chat. And what other topics do people want to hit? Come on, Jay Blood. I know you got something in you. What topic do you want? $10. Thank you. Total popedom.
Thank you.
20 pounds, which I think is like $16 or something.
No, it's more dollars than it is pounds.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. $25 US.
To address a comment,
we're already at 35 out of 50. You guys can do it.
A comment. Whoa! Now we made it.
Whoa!
Been wanting to do this, and you did.
Thank you, Volanti.
To address a comment, somebody just wrote, "Capitalism is bad, but give me money." Yeah, so you can hate a system and still have to live within it, right? Because obviously, if I was living like Robinson Crusoe and Togo sticking around,
wait, it's not give me money though.
You just, I'm getting to that. Then we wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be able to organize if I didn't have this phone that I know is made from conflict materials. I understand that. We all live on a hypocrisy spectrum. And obviously to the point, this money isn't going to us, it's going to food, not bombs. And they need money to buy the food in order to get it to the people who need it. So yeah, capitalism is fucking awful. And while we try to dismantle it, we have to live within it. Otherwise, if we don't live within it, if we choose to like ignore the reality of our situation, then we can't actually hope to change it because we'll be ignoring reality. You can't change something that you don't face. So
right.
That's that.
You kind of have to live within what it is you're trying to change if you're part of that society.
Thank you, Linda. So glad we're a fun part of your Friday. Thank you. That's all one word. I feel like Nate.
What?
It's all one word, but I feel like there's a name in there.
Say Nate.
But I don't think it is Nate.
I think it's Nate.
I don't think it's Nate. Anyway, thank you for spreading awareness. Thank you for donating. And I'm sorry that I can't glean a name out of that. Yes. So we're here for another 10 minutes, Lee.
We made it. So we got another 10 minutes. My computer's frozen, so we're going to have to go off what's going on over here.
Why was your computer?
Why is it frozen?
Why were you on your computer?
I'm watching comments and dealing with things. I got a lot going on here, all right?
I'm online banking.
Listen, I am a pivotal part of this operation.
I'm ordering face masks with the dildos on them from Etsy.
Do those exist?
I'm sure they do.
Wait, the dildo comes out of the mask?
That's a good question.
Anyway. Someone was asking an update on Julian Assange. I don't have an update. I do know that the people I'm in contact with or interact with, they continue to say this time is pivotal. They're talking about his extradition on a daily basis, and also he's in a prison where COVID-19 will likely at some point rage through the prison. I mean, that's kind of inevitable, especially, not especially, but also in U.S. prisons that's happening where like literally the entire prison gets COVID-19 because there is no effort at all to social distance or something. I mean, they're all on top of each other and it's meant to be that way. So they're saying that his health is, if he were to get COVID-19 is really not good. There are so many reasons that this publisher, this hero, this man who showed us how fucked up our system is, he deserves to be free, and everyone needs to keep fighting for it.
George.
And thank you, George.
Just wrapped that up real nice there.
Period.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I had something.
Kat says hi to George Carlin. You watched George Carlin last night, didn't you?
No, it was the night before last.
Then fuck it.
No, yes, that was definitely my rainy day. I needed a pick me up for sure.
Carlin said a lot of important things, and he was saying stuff that I didn't even really understand when he was first saying it in the early 90s.
Yeah, me neither.
But when he was saying about how much we love to bomb brown people, and I was like, that's not true. America does good.
America's not.
I mean, I was 12 at the time, but I was like, this mean man says naughty words, and he says America loves to bomb brown people, but we were bringing freedom.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Jennifer. We were bringing freedom to the Iraqi people. I don't know why Mr. Carlin would say that. But yeah, no, he's right about it all, as was Bill Hicks.
Well, this is an interesting point. Like, obviously, at that time you were thinking, oh, America's good, right? How did you shift? Like, what was like a watershed moment for you?
I got hit in the head with a foul ball.
Told you.
Foul ball. Boom.
I can
in
feel
the noggin.
like the sarcastic energy emanating off of him when he's about to say some bullshit.
Some bullshit. What was the shift? It was educating myself. It was so I did finish college. I knew a year into college I was going to be a comedian, but I was like, well, my parents will like if I finish college. So I finished college, but once I got done with college, that was when I started doing this thing that will fuck up your life. And I highly recommend against it because if you can live in ignorance as a blissful world, it's much better. But I started doing this thing called reading. And if you read the real books, the fucking, the Howard Zinns and the Chomskys and the Chris Hedges and such, life gets much harder. And they like it. And what is happening in the world, and it sucks because before you could live in kind of this blissful shopping malls are fun, right? And then you never question anything. But unfortunately, if you read those books and you read and you get information, and people used to ask me,
how were you inspired to read those books? Like, what brought you to those books as opposed to like the Bill O'Reilly books?
I knew that the Iraq War sounded wrong. I wasn't as adamant as I am now, but I was like, I don't feel like we need to be bombing Iraq. And they'd show you, they'd interrupt programming to show you grainy videos of bombs falling. And I was like, I don't understand, even if Saddam Hussein is a bad guy, I don't understand why bombing the shit out of the country that is mainly just, I assume, mainly just people, right? They're not hitting just military targets. These are just people. I don't understand why that's happening. And so I started watching more stuff, and you'd get a little pushback here and a little pushback there from the mainstream media. Occasionally you'd find something like Phil Donahue, who got purged from MSNBC for being against the war. You'd find something to give you a little information. And then eventually I got to the point where I found the important things like Democracy Now! And stuff. Now, Democracy Now! Has weirdly decided to support or put forward propaganda to support things like bombing Syrians and stuff like that. So I don't really know what's going on there. Neither does Aaron Mate, who used to be a producer there. But I don't know what's going on there. But in general, Democracy Now!, discovering Chomsky, a lot of these great writers, that helped me wake up.
Yeah, and J Blood, which confirmed that it is Jason, wrote Punk Rock. And if you haven't heard of Free Children of Earth, please do check them out. They're a totally badass punk rock band, political punk rock band.
And I assume you can still find their older albums under
Beasts of No Nation.
Beasts of No Nation.
Lucy writes, listening to Bill Hicks, which led me to Lee. And I think this is, and I actually, another moment of shameless self-promotion. I recently did a little video snippet for Democracy at Work, which is Richard Wolff's organization, about art as activism, and art being the salve and the fight and like the soul of our movements, and why art is activism and why art is so important. So I definitely recommend, it's up on my website, artkillingapathy.com, on the blog there. But I think
beautiful piece.
It's so like, I love asking this question because so often I run into people who are like, oh, I heard this song, or I watched this movie, or I read this poem, or I read this book. It's incredible. Or like I saw these protest signs, and that brought me to like talk to people at that protest about what they were doing. And it's so incredibly like important that we recognize the power of art, and the importance of art in not just promoting our fight and build movements, but also as like self-care and as like a salve to get through these, the worst machinations of capitalism. So definitely recommend that you guys check that out. I had fun putting that little bit together for Democracy at Work, and yeah.
I assume Jay Blood's talking about Shahid Buttar, who's running against Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
And Shahid is someone I actually know from back he used to be in D.C., and I hung out with him a few times. Very good guy. I've had him on Redacted VIP, and he is running. This is his second or third time running against Nancy Pelosi. And he would be far better in Congress than Nancy Pelosi. As far as I know, he is completely anti-corporate and good dude. He's in San Francisco now, which is why he's running against Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
We got 10 minutes left. What do you guys got? And thank you, Melissa.
Hey, but this is my mouse. George Carlin was a prophet. Absolutely. Amen. And you know his daughter, right?
Kelly Carlin is a great person. She's said some wonderful things about my comedy, which has been really cool. And she does a lot of interesting things. She has a book out. She does a one-person show about her relationship with her father. But Kelly Carlin. Felicia, thank you.
Abby Martin's show, Breaking the Set, woke me up. That was how I found your guys' content. Yes, awesome. Absolutely. I watched Abby's show as well, and I actually it was kind of funny. I was hanging out in a friend of mine's apartment, and he had her show on, and he was like, because at the time I had my band Rooftop Revolutionaries, and he's like, you should just ask if she would want to have you on the show, because she had a segment of her show that was dedicated to art. And I was like, she would never want me on her show. That's fucking stupid. But he was like, no, do it. And I was like, all right, fine. So I emailed her, and then she responded, and she was like, sure, I'll have you on the show. And I was like, oh shit. Okay. Now I have to fucking get myself together. And I had been on TV and stuff before, but I was I had a bit of a fangirl moment there. And and then this opened me up to, that's how I met Lee too, because I reached out to him and I was like, hey, you were on Abby's show too, you're cool.
Abby's still doing amazing stuff. Her show Empire Files is still on YouTube, and you should check it out. And they recently did an episode about the war in Afghanistan, that, they go through all the roots of the war in Afghanistan. Why have we been there for 20 years? Why is it that 3 straight presidents have said, I'm going to withdraw the troops from Afghanistan, and it never fucking happens? There is no withdrawal. There's no quote unquote peace. And there's a good reason for that. It's because, we want the geopolitical strength. We want the materials that come from Afghanistan. We want the opium. There are so many reasons that we are in Afghanistan and we have no plans of ever leaving. And this latest plan to bring back just a fraction of the troops from Afghanistan solicited this ridiculous Russia pays the Taliban story in order to stop Trump from withdrawing any troops, and it worked. There are I think, as far as I know, there are no withdrawal plans in the works because, Russia pays the Taliban, this thing we have no proof of, which even NBC, MSNBC's parent company, has said there is, I don't know the term I can't remember the term they used, but it's not strong proof of.
Yeah. And hold on, I have a thing going here. God damn it.
Sorry.
Now I lost it.
Sorry.
But yes, to answer your question, Terry, we do follow Whitney Webb, a great journalist that does work for Mint Press News, I believe, among others.
One of the good things she's been doing recently is a lot of Epstein coverage, which I've quoted from.
Yeah, and Tim notes the Zeitgeist films, another great eye-openers. Another great eye-openers? That's not fucking proper. I'm sorry.
All you do was have
they're good eye-openers.
Just chop the asshole.
Okay. But yeah, the push to maintain the endless wars and it's just when you see it happening from the outside, like when you're outside of the propaganda and you see them just pouring Russia on it, it's basically like just pouring fucking gasoline on like a little tiny flame, and you're like, that's how it works. Okay. And then you see everybody lose their goddamn minds, and you're like, but wait, but that's not, they did that. They pull, that's fucking made up. But yeah, it's, remarkable. Absolutely remarkable.
Yeah. And it's good for creating, here's the thing. They've understood for a long time that in order to get people united as a country, rather than getting upset, getting furious at the ruling elite, rather than marching in the streets, you need to use fear. And so the key is fear of the other. And so when the Soviet Union fell in 91, there was a brief period where our military spending actually went down. The things we were focusing on of creating a warlike structure was actually decreasing. And they realized we need a new other to say, hey, everybody, don't focus on us, the ruling elite. Don't get upset at us. Don't think your lives can be better. Get angry at them. It is fucking them and them and them. And so they started using various, it wasn't Russia for a while. It was, the Arabs, right, and the terrorism, and then 9/11 happened, and they were like, this is it. We got our thing. And so it became, thank you, Tara. Donation to Food Not Bombs. And so they became Arabs for a while. And even in movies, you'd see like the stereotypical Arab terrorist was like the common movie bad guy for a while.
True
Lies, right. So was the common movie bad guy for a while. And there wasn't really a Russian bad guy because we were cooperative with Russia, right? We'd put our leader in Russia, Yeltsin, to create a capitalist society, and we were fine with Russia for a while. And then now the Arab thing is fading out, and they've realized, well, shit, we can't do terrorism forever, the Arab terrorism forever. We have to find something else.
Got to diversify.
Not diversify. And so it's now Russia and increasingly China. Those are the bad guys that are going to get us. Occasionally they do Venezuela and Iran, but those aren't big enough to really threaten us. So mainly it's Russia and China. They're going to get us. And it's used to keep everybody in line. Don't get angry at the ruling elite. Get angry at the other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dave makes a great point. F-35 suck at farming. This is very true. Yeah, you can't eat bombs. You can't eat money. God, the F-35s, what a fucking money suck.
$1 trillion.
I mean, it's just amazing. Yeah, Osama notes, F-35s also suck at staying in the air. Very true. And there's, just the amount of waste, both in terms of like actual waste, like in terms of like the materials, but also just the monetary waste that goes into the military is fucking mind-boggling.
Absolutely. Natural Law is mentioning Eleanor's podcast. If you'd like to say a word about self-esteem.
Thank you. Yeah, so this past week, my podcast Act Out, which airs bi-monthly, was about the sort of struggle of self-worth and self-esteem in capitalism, and how, humans are both the commodity and the commodified, the commodity and the consumer in a capitalist system, and talking about like that struggle for self-worth outside of the value system in terms of monetary value. So if you're interested in that whole, you look confused, but if you're interested in that whole conversation, please check out my podcast Act Out, which airs every other Friday at noon. And that's on iTunes and Spotify and yeah.
By the way, I'm going to throw out a quick conspiracy theory here. I've noticed that every episode we have of this live stream, the number of people involved, according to YouTube, hovers around 200, between 200 and 250 on YouTube, and then, maybe 200 more on Facebook or something. But it doesn't make any sense that it would always be around 200. Because A, the promotion varies each week. The choppiness of the video, as many of you know, varies each week. Our non-choppy videos should do much better than our choppy videos. And yet, we always seem to be around just 200 people. And so I would think it's quite likely that this is getting suppressed. I mean, I'm suppressed in a bunch of ways, but, I was hoping this channel was kind of free of that. But to see that it's just by coincidence, roughly 200 people on YouTube seem interested in this every week, no matter how much we promote it.
Right.
It's horseshit. And, here's the thing is with the social media platforms, they realized several years ago, basically around the time of Occupy, they were like, wow, everyone's standing up. Everyone seems angry. Everyone seems pissed. What's going on? Oh, turns out everyone has found out they can talk to each other and they can figure out things about the world. And that was very bad for them. So you had people getting angry, getting pissed, getting on the streets. And so now they have realized they needed to capture the social media platforms. And I realize I'm talking fast, but this is important. And so they did that. They captured the social media platforms. They captured YouTube, captured Facebook, Atlantic Council, all that shit. Captured fucking Twitter. And they captured the big media social media platforms. And now there are, little startups that are trying to compete saying, hey, we're not the captured ones. Minds, and there's a new right-wing one called Parler or something. And, there's Steam It. But really, they can't compete with the billions of people that are on Facebook and everything. So the ruling elite have kind of captured these areas that used to be free and used to spawn viral thought, and like the Zeitgeist film that was the most ever watched documentary in the history of fucking independent documentaries. It was getting millions of views like a month for ongoing. Just people kept spawning new. It was crazy, and they realized that was bad. That was terrible. So now we have what we have now, which is, we're allowed to have 200 people show up to this, but after that, they fucking chop it off and don't let people know or something. I don't know what goes on, but.
Well, I'm glad to know that my emails are getting to people, though. Amandi's saying that they found out about it because of my email, so I'm glad at least that's coming through.
Good to hear. I didn't even get the notification until y'all clicked on.
I did. Oh, balls. I'm sorry. Sorry, Lene. Didn't even get the notification until y'all have been on for 30 minutes. Yeah. So obviously, this is suppression. But
we're gonna keep going because this fight is a marathon and we're not giving up. So.
But we're not going to keep going right now, though.
No. We're done now.
Yeah.
we're throwing the towel right now.
My brain is just about done.
We be mush. But thank you all so much for joining us. We will let you know next week how much money was donated to Food Not Bombs, and we let you know every week about how much was donated the previous week. Last week we gave $500 to Black Hills Legal Defense Fund, which is beyond incredible. And I don't know how to thank you enough. I love hanging out with you guys, and I want you to be back next week. We're trying to stick to a standard time, although it may not always be the same. But We're trying to stick to 8:30s on Fridays after the airing of Redacted Tonight. So even if you don't get a notification, even if no one tells you because they're trying to stop us, please come hang out with us at youtube.com/moment of clarity. Podcast.
It won't be next Friday at 8:30 though.
Probably next Friday. Probably not next Friday, but I'll email everybody, and also you can check our tweets and stuff. But podcast, Common Censored podcast, new one. I started with Graham Elwood. It's called Government Secrets. Eleanor's podcast called Act Out. Plenty of content. Check it out. Enjoy it. Eleanor's movie, hardroadofhope.com. And my book, Bullet Points and Punchlines. Keep fighting, everybody.